In this presentation, I will be addressing microplastics and their prevalence in the Anthropocene. Their prevalence helps to answer the question of just how wide-reaching our impact as a species has been on our environment. So to start off, what exactly are microplastics and where do they come from? Microplastics are officially defined as being plastic particles that are less than 5 millimeters long, and you can find particles as small as 10 nanometers long. They come from two sources, primary and secondary. Primary sources are purposely manufactured for use and are microplastics in their own right. Secondary sources, meanwhile, are formed when larger plastic gets broken down. Some examples of primary sources are microbeads, which are usually less than a millimeter in length. They are found in products such as toothpaste. In 2015, a ban on products containing microbeads was signed by President Obama. However, they are still very widely found. Nurdles, which are tiny pellets that are used in mass production of plastics. These can be dispersed into the environment during either the transportation or manufacturing process. Fragments, which as the name suggests, originate from larger pieces of plastic that break down. Some examples of secondary sources are fibers, which come from items such as fleece clothing. Much of the fibers found in the environment are due to our washing machines expelling fibers when washing clothes that contain them. And lastly, we have styrofoam, which is used as a container for things such as coffee and takeout food. All five of these are non-biodegradable. This means that they will indefinitely be in our environment. Now that we have covered where microplastics come from, let's address where they are found in our environment. Just about everywhere. This includes some very concerning places that we wouldn't consider. In fact, we seem to have new articles come out daily that expand the scope of things that have been exposed to microplastics. The examples that I am about to present serve to highlight the gravity of the Anthropocene. Microplastics have been found in human placentas. This is actually a very recent revelation, as it was uncovered in an Italian study in 2020. The delivery of the babies was purposefully done in a plastic-free manner in order to prevent contamination. Let me read a quote from Antonio Ragusa, the director of gynecology where the study was held. It is like having a cyborg baby, no longer composed only of human cells, but a mixture of biological and inorganic entities. The good news is that there are no known health impacts yet. All the babies had normal births, so that is a positive sign. However, future studies may reveal previously unknown issues. A study conducted on pregnant rats, however, shows more concerning possibilities. The fetuses of rats that had been exposed to microplastics while pregnant had microplastics in a wide range of organs, the height and brains being some of those. This indicates that microplastics are dispersed across the body when in development, which could spell for serious defects. They have also been found throughout the food chain, including in food meant for human consumption. This is an even more recent discovery, with microplastics found in the blood of cows and pigs that were being raised on a farm for human consumption. The effects it may have on humans that consume these animals are worrying. The plastics could potentially be circulated around our body and end up being deposited in our organs. It also raises developmental concerns. If the microplastics manage to enter a person's blood, it may end up in their breast milk. While the toxicity and effects on adult humans are still unknown, developing children are genuinely more prone to issues from contaminants in this stage. These microplastics also have the potential to cause issues in the food chain. Microplastics have been found in sea turtles, which is not typically consumed by humans, however, is a routine part of certain marine species' diets. We as species are basically changing the food chain on a chemical level, with microplastics projected to be increasingly prevalent in the environment by the year. The last example I'll present is also the most widely existing one, and also the most concerning in my opinion. Microplastics are readily abundant in the air we breathe in, even in our own homes. We potentially breathe in 7,000 particles a day. These particles were found to come from synthetic materials. In fact, the abundance was quite unexpected as it was 100 times greater than the experimenters predicted. This can have potentially harmful effects, mirroring the damages activities like smoking can cause. It also highlights our need to dedicate time and money towards investigating non-traditional sources of pollutants. Microplastics are incredibly symbolic when looked at in the context of the Anthropocene. Microplastics are completely man-made. Without humanity, they would simply not exist in the environment. They are also virtually new. Our modern reliance on plastic products is something that has seen its rise hand in hand with the timescale for the Anthropocene. As microplastics are not biodegradable, they will be a permanent fixture on our planet. It is symbolic of our dominance over the earth as a species. In less than 100 years, we added a new material, plastic, to basically every facet of our world. Microplastics are now a common topic and issue that has drawn greater and greater concern, both in academic and media settings. This is highlighted by the graph currently on the screen. The graph shows the number of publications concerning microplastics in sediments by year. As we can see, there were barely any publications from the 70s to the turn of the century. As the accumulation of microplastics started to add up, more and more publications were made, ballooning in the last 15 years. This is a positive sign, as more discourse will hopefully lead to more actions, regulations, and studies to help better understand microplastics and the effects they have on the world around us.